I saw Obsession in theaters this week, and it kept me up until about 5 in the morning. I kept on checking corners of my room, like there was going to be a woman watching me with that uncanny valley look about her. And tonight, July 6th, finally managed to start sleeping with my lights off again, because I'm just like that brave. It's been 7 days since I watched this movie. But anyways, I'm still listening to background noise, so it doesn't get too quiet because it really scared me. Apparently, this isn't hard to do. My friend watched in, but apparently this isn't hard to do. I don't want to date. I hate uncanny valley type of horror, especially with human faces. And worst of all, I really hate the fates that women in horror tend to face. Why does that happen so often? Spoilers for Obsession, but Nikki ends up as the only one alive. Ooh, not fun. The director has mentioned many times that she's going to face prison for what happened, most likely, and neither of those things really surprised me when I watched it. I actually didn't even want to watch it at first because of this reason. We, as a culture, seem to have a very strong fixation on watching women be turned into victims in the horror genre. After all, Obsession is nothing without its predecessors. It is only the latest in a long line of media that has this overlap between women, romance, and, oddly, robots. But before we get into all that, this video is most importantly about Nikki Freeman. Now, I really hate almost everything I've seen online about Obsession. I think it's really shallow when it comes to analysis. But for the purpose of this video, I've split this section into two a little bit. To start with, I want to write down the most obvious parts of the movie, at least to me. First of all, Bear's the villain. To be more specific, all of the conflict roots from Bear's selfishness and cowardice. He backs out of any gestures that Nikki would have appreciated, like the sappy little speech he practices at the diner about how why he's in love with her. And he doesn't buy her a crystal necklace, even though that's the reason why he went to the metaphysical store in the first place. And he doesn't even give her the one wish willow that he bought for her. And as a very crazy idea here, he didn't even leave her the hell alone, even though she clearly wanted him to. Instead, he followed his pursuit of feeling good. He doesn't buy her a crystal necklace, but changes his mind to buy something he wanted. He doesn't take the half a dozen hints that she managed to rapid fire at him over the span of a single evening. After the wish that he makes, that Nikki loves him more than anyone else in the world, he refuses to acknowledge Nikki as a person at all. Both real Nikki and wish Nikki. Real Nikki clearly doesn't want to be anywhere near him and takes every opportunity she can to get as far away from him as possible, scrambling across the floor to do so. Wish Nikki genuinely just wants his attention. Which, yeah, if a real person acted the way that she did, it would technically, it wouldn't be healthy. But he literally, he wanted this exact scenario to play out. He wouldn't be in this situation if it weren't for his own actions. And then there's my personal beef with the ending. I don't like how Nikki's the collateral damage of everything. I get it, writing-wise, I understand why it had to end that way, but I don't agree with it. I don't like it. It's really sad. Free her. However, all of this to say, there's a part of this movie that I thought was really, really smart. Specifically, I deeply, deeply liked and appreciated the allegory to AI across the film. It had the subtlety that I feel like has become oddly rare nowadays, yet at the same time it's right in your face when you watch the movie. Nikki is a writer, and Bear uses AI. The link between AI and misogyny in this movie is by far my favorite thing about it. Something about films that show the current technology being used against women is a topic that I can't seem to look away from. It's almost like a car crash. Nobody can fully stop it. Bear and Nikki's relationship arc serves as a very clever reflection of AI, and specifically AI psychosis. Well, it's not a fully documented phenomenon, considering chatbots are still a bit young enough for there to be long-term evidence to meaningfully exist and prove the AI psychosis is real. It's still present enough in society for people to take notice and give it a name. The term itself gets thrown around a lot willy-nilly, but it basically boils down to the phenomenon where the usage of AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Character AI, what have you, make people more susceptible to delusional thinking. This doesn't have to be like intense mania or psychosis like that one Kendra woman who's obsessed with her psychiatrist. But in the case of obsession, it's not, they don't like veer far from it. Soren Dinesen Ostergaard was quoted claiming that ChatGPT was so realistic that the inability to tell whether or not the user was communicating with a real person, well, logically, knowing that they weren't, could fuel delusions in people already sensitive to that line of thinking. Nikki obviously isn't ChatGPT, and at the same time, Bear's experience with Wish Nikki specifically is eerily similar to that description. Logically, he spends 90% of the movie at least acutely aware that it's not her authentic state, nor is it anywhere even close. Even before he apparently realized it was the One Wish Willow, his friends were mentioning the possibilities of her having a mental breakdown or relapsing into Molly or the like. Yet Bear spends the entire runtime deluding himself into believing that it was Nikki. Nikki loved him, Nikki couldn't be without him, and their relationship was the only real part of his life. Even if, at the start, she just parroted words nonsensically, or took any hint of information from him, like the passing of his cat, and brought it to the absolute extreme just to get his attention, like with that sandwich. His denial isn't the most dangerous part of the situation, though. Things only escalate when he grows bored of her. At the end of the film, he turns his attention onto Sarah, the other girl in his friend group, who very obviously had feelings for him the entire time. Dating exclusively within your friend group is an idea doomed to fail from the start, especially when you're trying to cheat on an already obsessive and destructive girlfriend. But Bear turning his attention onto Sarah is Nikki's last straw, actually. Wish Nikki's last straw. It also works really well into the AI allegory going on, as Sarah, ironically, is an artist. Nikki Freeman is too, she's a writer, but Sarah aspired to be a tattoo artist. When Wish Nikki, who no longer writes, got rid of Sarah, she didn't just leave it at that, but she instead took Sarah's dress, copied Sarah's tattoos, and kept Sarah along just in case Bear needed her or a reminder of her. The concept of something possessed with the irrevocable mission to please someone by stealing a woman's art is very, very 2026. Obsession isn't just about AI, though. It's first and foremost about women. Bear sucks Nikki dry and then moves on to Sarah to do the same. He just uses technology, or willow branches, to do so. Before ChatGPT and One Wish Willows, there were simulations, and robots, and invisible suits, and more robots. People love turning women into robots. Like, they really love it. Most of the world's earliest robots, as pop culture recognizes them to be, I'm a creative writing major. Please don't expect me to, accurately differentiate robots and AI and automatons and all of the... I don't like science and that aspect of it. But anyways, most of the world's earliest robots are women. There's the Eliza program, there's Maria from Metropolis, there's the Repli Q1, freaking EVBot. Do any of you guys remember EVBot? But, Eve was pulled from Adam's rib after all, so I guess it makes sense. However, if you had a pulse and YouTube in 2017, maybe you found your interest in robotic women from a slightly different source. I definitely think Curry Barker did, at least. Doki Doki Literature Club, for those not in the know, is an anime romance visual novel. Or to put it more accurately, it's a psychological horror game parading as an anime romance visual novel. The main plot is pretty simple, with you starting as the main character, or MC, who is convinced to join his high school literature club by his childhood and, from what we can tell, only friend, Sayori. There he meets 3 other girls, Natsuki, the youngest and a cutesy argumentative girl, Yuri, the shy older girl with the love for reading, and Monica, the leader of the club and kind of a jack of all trades. She's pretty and athletic and smart and confident. Meanwhile, Sayori is this very bubbly, sweet girl who's famously forgetful and clumsy. Across the game, you write poems by picking words to suit whatever girl you want to romance, Sayori, Yuri, or Natsuki. And then you go through the romance route of whichever one likes your poems the most. However, no matter who you pick, you notice that your friend Sayori grows more and more reserved every day. The day before a school-wide festival the literature club is preparing for, she confesses her feelings for you, as well as the fact that she's had depression for years. No matter whether you choose to reciprocate her feelings or not, she ends up passing away the next morning. You find her in her bedroom. Then, very abruptly, the game closes, and when you re-enter, Sayori doesn't exist, and everything starts back from the beginning. You run through the game again, your character being somewhat aware of Sayori's absence, but goes to romance another girl. There's something weird going on with Monika now, but the options are still between Yuri and Natsuki, so who even cares? It doesn't even really matter who you pick at this point, though, because Yuri just grows more and more obsessed. And then she also ends up passing away by her own hand, right before the school festival, just like Sayori. Monika finds the two of you there, after Yuri does this, and ends up deleting Yuri from the game, somehow, and then doing the same to Natsuki when she shows up. She actually goes on a bit of a spree, deleting things, and whittling the game down until it's just you and her together in a room, space and time and other people now irrelevant. You can choose to be with her here for as long as you'd like, and she explains to you her motives and actions, how it all started when she had an awakening and realized she was in a video game. One of her first poems serves as an allegory for her breaking through that fourth wall behind the scenes, and over time she grew more and more sick of her circumstances, seeing her friends be reduced to romantic options for the MC, and then to code itself. Because she herself gets no attention from the MC, she decided to take things into her own hands and tried to make the other girls unlovable. Hence, Sayori's depression growing more severe and Yuri's intense obsession. She was the one who did that, and the one who deleted all of the other girls from the game. Her ultimate goal was to build a relationship not with the MC, but you, as the player, the one behind the computer controlling the MC. Eventually, in the plot, you wisen up and delete Monika's own file from the game. She's devastated, but wishes you goodbye and gives you a goodbye song. You reopen the game, and now Sayori is president and is, unfortunately, given the same fourth wall curse that Monika had. So, from beyond the digital metaphorical grave, Monika deletes Sayori's file to protect the MC, and the game truly ends. It took the gaming community by storm when it came out for being one of the most shining examples of a genre twist in a video game, possibly ever. I can't come up with an example that beats it. Even now, no one's done it like Doki Doki Literature Club. There is a lot to be said about each of the girls, and I've already mentioned my favorite, Sayori, in my video about haunting the narrative, but lately I've come to understand one of the others on a newer level, being Monika. Monika very deftly portrays a trope common in anime, being the yandere, the character that loves their love interest so much that they're driven to kill for them. They're driven to do anything for them. I'm not typically into that, nor am I usually into the storytelling. However, with obsession trending and how similar it is to Doki Doki Literature Club, it pushed me to give Monika a second look. I think her story, from her point of view, shows a very rich horror story, one that not many people have given flowers to, at least from what I can tell. She starts out as this well-rounded, cool high school girl, one the MC literally describes as being out of his league. Wait until he realizes that they are all out of his league. I hate the MC. He's a Okay. Anyways, by the end of the game, Monika is posed to be this all-knowing, obsessive villain. However, I'd argue that she's just as much as a victim as the rest of the girls. She's forced to watch her friends slowly have their entire personhood drained away until they all revolve around some random loser. A guy with no hobbies, no friends, and literally only joined the literature club because of peer pressure and the very adolescent desire to be the only guy in a club full of cute girls. Her friends stop feeling real. And then she is struck with the realization that her friends literally are not real, and technically speaking, neither is she. It's all a game, and one where she was already put at a disadvantage for not being an option for the MC in the first place, who, as lame as he is still the only portal into the real world that she gets. So she tries her best to level her circumstances and get some attention unto herself, if only to escape the Truman Show existence she is stuck in. However, this ends up backfiring, and the facades of her friends fade away. Monica tries to content herself with staying with the MC for eternity, but the divide between being a coded character in a video game trying to love a human being is too great. Monica ends up in the exact same place as all of her friends, driven to her worst because of the MC, and then doomed to be deleted. She might serve as the direct force influencing the other girls getting deleted, but in the grand scheme of things, there's another more insidious poison here. The MC. You, the player. Even after Monica's deleted, Sayori ends up being the villain. The girls only start going crazy and dividing amongst themselves after you show up. Monica only loses her friends when they turn their attention onto you. And you know this. You downloaded the game to siphon out some romantic entertainment from female characters within a video game. We can't exactly play the innocent bystander because you clearly entered the equation wanting to have a girl obsessed with us, even if she is just a robot. That's all the girls are, anyway. They're programmed representations of whatever romantic fantasy you want to live out. Monica is just the only person to realize this. I don't think she can be blamed for taking advantage of that knowledge. In Monica's defense, men have been taking advantage of that knowledge way longer than she has. That's where this scary robot woman trope came from in the first place. The Stepford Wives. I've probably talked about this book and the 1975 movie adaptation a little more than necessary already, but I genuinely can't make a video about the link between sci-fi horror and feminism and not bring up Ira Levin's masterpiece. Y'all would have to put me in one of those medieval things where you put the head in the hole with your hands so you're locked up, and then peasants throw tomatoes at you. The stalks, I think they're called. If you didn't know, in one of what I consider to be my best videos, I do a more completed rundown of the plot while comparing it to Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis. So feel free to watch that video. But here's the quick summary. Stepford Wives, 1975, is a movie adaptation from a book of the same name by Ira Levin. I'm going to be talking about the film here, but the book is fairly similar, with only slight differences. It's about this woman, Joanna, who moves from NYC to a smaller town named Stepford with her husband and children. Her husband made the decision and she's not exactly fond of it, but she tries to make the best of it anyways, since it's going to be better for the kids and he has a job and whatever. She tries making friends. She forms a bit of a women's club, but then she finds this odd phenomenon. The women of Stepford, they act like trad wives is the most accurate way to put it. Meanwhile, her husband has had no problem making friends and was actually invited to the oh-so-elite men's club. I don't know why men need a club. I feel like that's just any time men hang out. What were they? I know what they were doing, but what were they pretending to do? Anyways, as the movie progresses, the tension ramps up more and more as Joanna's friends start acting like the rest of the women in Stepford. They become obsessed with homemaking, motherhood, and their husbands. No hobbies, no personality, no nothing. Even their taste in clothing does a 180 from the very trendy 90s fashion to the trad wife aesthetic. Joanna finds out that the women of Stepford are being replaced with robot versions of themselves that the men in the men's club are making. Her husband wants it to happen to her too. She tries her best to avoid that fate and run away, but in the end, it does happen. This film was very emblematic of second-wave feminism, and the main message of it was essentially that marriage, as an institution, shout out to married people, but as a social creation, it was based on the disenfranchisement of women. Husbands, as a societal figure, will break their empathy, boundaries, morals, and even their basic sense of humanity to get the best wife possible. Wives are not humans, but essentially a figure. They take care of the home, they take care of their children, and they take care of their husband, and then their husband goes to work to pay for all of this. And all of these tasks of a wife can so easily be replaced by robots. We're already seeing it with the really evil Roomba that doesn't even vacuum anything. However, Ira11 did a very masterful job of linking the growing fears surrounding the technology of the time to very valid fears of women being exploited by their husbands and the men around them. I particularly like how it gives attention to a very under-recognized aspect of misogyny, being romance. Using fiction to compare the plight of women to the plight of the machine is not a unique concept. Obsession is not a unique concept. It is the sum of its parts. There are a lot of movies that Obsession is similar to. Initially, I got turned off of it because of that. You know, I've seen Companion, I've seen Stepford Wives, and there's a whole other laundry list of movies that fall in line of this trope of sci-fi women being victimized. Don't Worry, Darling, The Invisible Man, that one Chris Pratt Amnesia movie, and even Mouthwashing if we're including video games. And considering Obsession is more of a fantasy magical realist piece, there's even more under that territory. There's Possession, Jennifer's Body, Rosemary's Baby, Wuthering Heights, the book by Emily Bronte, not the movie, Midsummer, Black Swan. These fantasy pieces, especially Obsession's framing of the wishes as a sort of magic, coincide with a whole other genre. However, supernaturalism and magical world building serve to showcase the nonsensical quality of misogyny as a whole. But science fiction grounds it in some sort of reality, one that's closer to ours. Media like this, Stepford Wives, Doki Doki, Obsession, it all asks a very important question about the future of technology and the future of love. What does it mean for women? Back at the start of this conversation with Stepford Wives, it took a very institutional look at romance. Marriage served to organize men and women into their societal roles, and the more we progress with technology, the easier women become to replace. Progression isn't wholly good. Even with the racial aspect of the story of the African-American family moving in, the mother soon to be the next victim of Stepford Village, and the history of progressive tendencies that the town displays, the shallow inclusivity doesn't stop the root issues. Wives are still exploited in Stepford Village. Doki Doki Literature Club, on the other hand, brings a specifically Japanese outlook to the conversation. Now, I'm American. I'm not Japanese. I did the best reading I could for this video. And if you have any like better insights than me, which hopefully you do, feel free to leave a comment because I'd love to learn more about this. But anyways, from the reading I've done, the structure of the game's story and its characters very, very cleverly echoes the gender norms that men and women face in Japan, especially in younger generations. If you know more about how those work, again, please comment. According to Gavin Patrick Gray, who wrote a source I'll link in the description, women are divided into roughly 2 categories in Japan: pure and impure women. This isn't based on sexuality, but instead on submission and dominance. For example, the Doki Doki girls. Yuri and Natsuki are on the opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to maturity, quote unquote, but both are submissive. Natsuki's small, if argumentative, and Yuri's incredibly withdrawn and shy. Sayori's bubbly and innocent and young. Obviously, she's like in this group. Monica, though, she's assertive. Even with details like her pose, her manner of speaking, her interests, all of it shows that she is a little bit above the MC in any recognizable way. He literally describes her as being out of his league. She has the total control of the game until the very end. DDLC can serve as a critique of that gender complex. Out of the fear of facing more dominant or in-charge women like Monica, men can sometimes turn to submissive women to keep their own insecurities at bay. The problem with avoiding strong women at large is that it isolates everybody involved. All of these pieces show their endings to be one of extreme isolation. Bear and Wishniki bury themselves into this bubble of total isolation, and anyone who gets in the way ends up dead. Monica does the same to the MC of DDLC. Joanna and her children are trapped in Stepford Village, the only real human around them being the husband, that ends up replacing Joanna with a robot. So even though these stories use fantasy or science fiction as a metaphor, exploring fictional ways women are exploited, that still comes from a very real human root. There wouldn't be so many stories about this if people weren't afraid of it and seeing it actually happen. Maybe it's not a One Wish Willow or a deleted character file, but maybe it's Kylie Jenner meta glasses or AI-generated nude models. We can't call for progress until we fix our own root problems, or else stories like these will only end up becoming closer and closer parallels to reality. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching these videos and for subscribing and doing all of those very cool things. I'm very excited to be making more. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment or like.